तो इस लेक्चर में हम पढ़ेंगे बोहर्स मॉडल के बारे में। बोहर्स एटॉमिक मॉडल। व्हाई दिस मॉडल इज बिकेम सो फेमस अंडर वेरी शॉर्ट स्पैन ऑफ टाइम, बिकॉज क्योंकि ये जो मॉडल था ये बेस्ड था ओनली फॉर मोनो इलेक्ट्रिक सिस्टम। मोनो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक स्पीशीज कौन सी होती थी? राइट इट डाउन। इट इज ओनली एप्लीकेबल फॉर द मोनो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक सिस्टम। इसके डिफरेंट डिफरेंट पॉस्टुलेट्स भी आए, बट व्हाट आर द मेन पॉइंट्स ऑफ द बोर्स एटॉमिक मॉडल वाज the first point was electron is considered as a particle. Electron is considered as a particle. As well as what do we mean by the mono electronic species was the number of atom in the species will be one. तो मैं एग्जांपल देके तुम्हें समझा देता हूँ कि what are the mono electronic species. Example: hydrogen, helium plus, lithium 2 plus, beryllium 3 plus, etc., etc., etc. The first point was electron is considered as a particle. The second point of the Bohr atomic model was it is based on the quantum theory and the classical laws of physics. As we know, we have discussed about the black body radiation, and we came up to know that the black body radiation, the classical mechanics failed because the theoretical graph in the black body radiation does not meet the actual graph in the black body radiation. That's why this theory came, and it is based on the quantum theory and classical laws of mechanics. As well as the third main point of the Bohr atomic model was it was only applicable for the single electronic system or single species having single electron. So only applicable for the single electron system and species. As well as these are the main points on which the Bohr atomic model was based. Now we are discussing the postulates. What postulates did the Bohr gave to us regarding this Bohr atomic theory was the first main point was whenever an electron moves around a nucleus in a circular path of fixed radius and fixed energy. As we know, the earlier theory which we have discussed were failed just because the concept came that if electron revolves around the nucleus, it will after and irradiates its energy and coincide with the nucleus, and after all, there is no essence of the nucleus electron. So this theory is based that the electron moves and around in a circular path as well as it has fixed radius and fixed energy. So the first postulate was electron moves around the nucleus in a circular path of fixed radius, in a circular path of fixed radius and fixed energy. Radius भी fixed होगा, energy भी fixed होगी. The second main postulate of the Bohr atomic theory was it revolves around a circular path in which electron can revolve, and the circular path are known as orbit, shells or stationary cells. So the second point was circular path in which electron can revolve. Circular path in which electron can revolve are known as orbit, shell orbits, shells, stationary cells, allowed energy state. In this circular orbits, each stationary orbit is associated with a definite amount of energy, which are known as energy levels. We can say that K, L, M, and these are the energy levels in this particular orbits. So these particular orbits, write it down. Each stationary orbits is associated with definite amount of energy. Is associated with definite amount of energy called energy level and are numbered as and are numbered as 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, or they are named as K, L, M, N shells, etc. etc. After that, the third main postulate of the Bohr atomic theory was for the movement of electron in a circular path, there is an attractive force balanced by the centrifugal force. As you know, the electron moves around the orbit, so there must be a centrifugal force that must be balanced by a electron. So the third main point was for movement of electron in fixed circular path, attractive force is balanced by the centrifugal force. We'll use this relation after just after in the this lecture also. Attractive force is balanced by the centrifugal force. The fourth main point was for the movement of electron. Let us understand this postulate. We can see that the electron moves around the orbit in a circular path. So the centrifugal force is attracted by the attractive force. So if the electron moves around the circular path, the centrifugal force was mv square divided by r, and it is balanced by the attractive force. The attractive force will be q1 q2 by r square, k q1 q2 by r square. So the attractive force is balanced by the centrifugal force, and the attractive force was k q1 q2 by r square mv square by r, and we know that k is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, and the q1 and q2 are basically ze, and we can name that as e. तो यहाँ पे तुम q1 मान लो, यहाँ पे q2 मान लो. This is the distance between them, and it is in the orbit moving with the velocity v. Electron is revolving, and this is the electron, and in the nucleus the charge is plus ze. Now this is the force of F is the force of attraction. Now if we are balancing this force, the q1 q2 are z e square, we know that it is ze and it is e, so it will become ze square divided by r square equals to mv square by r. Now this force is balanced by the centrifugal force, So the final relation will be mv square by r equals to kze square upon r square. Remember this relation. We will use further this relation in the upcoming topics. The fourth main postulate of the Bohr atomic theory was electron can revolve only on that circular path in which its angular momentum is equal to an integral multiple of h cut upon 2 pi. What is the statement? Let me write this. Electron can revolve only, electron can revolve only on that circular path in which its angular momentum is equal to, in which its angular momentum is equal to integral multiple of h cut upon 2 pi. Integral multiple of h cut upon 2 pi. What is the h cut upon 2 pi? It can only revolve in that circular path. अब इसमें बोला है कि एंगुलर मोमेंटम तुम्हारा h कट अपॉन 2 पाई की इंटीग्रल मल्टीपल के बराबर होना चाहिए. तो सबसे पहले तो हमको पता है कि एंगुलर मोमेंटम क्या था. एंगुलर मोमेंटम इज एम वी आर इज इक्वल टू इंटीग्रल मल्टीपल तुम्हारा हो जाएगा कुछ n मान लो और h कट अपॉन 2 पाई. ये रिलेशन वो कहना चाह रहा है कि उसी ऑर्बिट में, उसी सर्कुलर पाथ में इलेक्ट्रॉन घूम पाएगा जिसमें एंगुलर मोमेंटम इसके बराबर होगा. ठीक है. Where n cannot be any integer, it can only be an integral number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 only. N can be 1, 2, 3 and etc etc. Not equals to 1.5, 2.5 etc etc. The fifth main postulate of the Bohr atomic model was when an electron moves from one orbit to the another orbit, loss or gain of energy occurs in the form of radiation only. When electron move from one orbit to another orbit, loss or gain of energy occurs in the loss or gain of energy occurs in the form of radiation. Now, if electron moves from higher orbit to a lower orbit, energy emitted in the form of radiation or the vice versa. If the electron moves from lower orbit to higher orbit, the energy will be absorbed, or if the electron moves from higher orbit to lower orbit, the energy will be emitted. So, in this fifth postulate, the sub postulate was when electron moves from higher orbit to lower orbit, when electron moves from higher orbit to lower orbit, energy emitted in form of radiation and vice versa. As well as the energy is equals to h mu, and it is equals to the, we know the frequency of an electron will be this. From this we can consider the frequency will be del E by H. Now these are the 5 postulates of the Bohr atomic theory. Now we are moving with some formula part, how to derive some formulas regarding these centrifugal formulas. So what are the relations that we have already as of now? We have the first thing is equals to mv square by r is equals to the attractive force, that is equals to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square. The second relation we have is mvr, that is angular momentum, is equals to integral multiple of 2 pi. And the third relation we have is the potential energy is equals to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r. As we know, if the electron moves around a circular path, consider this is the nucleus, this is the q1, this is the q2, this is the centrifugal force, that is mv square by r. Electron is moving with velocity v and centrifugal force is in towards the nucleus, and the attractive force is F, and this electron is E, and the nucleus it is plus ZE. So from this three relation we can consider that from equation 1 we know that mv square by r is equals to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught is equals to ZE square upon r square. So from this r square got cancelled, and it will be mv square is equals to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught ZE square by r. So consider this as equation number 4. From equation 2 what we have in the equation number 2, it is equals to mv is equals to nh upon 2 pi r. So if we square both of the sides, we can get is equals to m square v square is equals to n square h square upon 4 pi square r square. So consider this as equation number 5 and consider this as equation number 6. Now from equation 4 and 6 we can see that from equation 4 and 6 we can find out the value of the radius. As you can see, the value of radius is coming out to be n square h square epsilon naught n square h square epsilon naught divided by pi mze square, pi mze square, as well as the radius is equals to h square epsilon naught upon pi me square upon n square by z. We know that 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught is k, so if we just cross multiply the 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, we can see that it is coming out to be k into n square by z. The whole value is a constant. The epsilon naught is constant. We know the value of the Planck constant. We know the value of pi, and we know the value of m and e square also. The only thing which can change is the integral multiple and the uh, atomic number of the electron. So we consider whole this as a constant, and we can see that it is coming out to be k multiplied some integral multiple upon z. So the value of the constant k is 0.529 multiplied by n square by z angstrom. This is the final relation of the radius. Consider this as equation number 8. Now we have found out the value of the radius in the nth orbit, and it is coming out to be 0.529 multiplied by n square upon z. Now, if we consider the equation number second, this is the equation number second and the equation number 7. So the equation number 7 was this. So from the equation number this and this, we can find out the value of velocity. You can see there is a v here. If we just shift the v here, we can find out the value of the velocity also. So let us find out the value of velocity from equation number 2 and 7. From equation 2 and 7, we can find out that velocity is equals to nh upon 2 pi m n square h square epsilon naught upon pi m z e square. ये मैंने एज इट इज लिख दिया है. इसके स्क्वायर से ये दोनों कैंसिल, पाई एम से ये दोनों कैंसिल, and the value of velocity is coming out to be e square z upon 2nh epsilon naught, 2nh epsilon naught, nh epsilon naught. Now consider this as equation number 9. We have to find out the velocity of the electron in the nth orbit. So for the velocity of the electron in the nth orbit, epsilon naught upon 2h epsilon naught. These are the constant values, as we already know. The value which can change over changing the values are z upon n. So consider this as any constant. If you calculate the value of all of these constants, it is coming out to be 2.18 into 10 multiplied by 6 into z by n meter per second. As we know, it is the velocity of the electron in the nth orbit, so the unit will be meter per second. Consider this as equation number 10. Now, we have found out the velocity and the radius of the electron in the nth orbit. Now we are finding the total energy and the kinetic energy of the electron. So the total, as we know, that what do we have? We have half mv square, the kinetic energy, by r is equals to half 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught z square by r square. मैंने क्या किया? मैंने कुछ नहीं किया है. ये अट्रैक्टिव फोर्स था, ये सेंट्रीफ्यूगल फोर्स था, दोनों को मैंने हाफ हाफ से मल्टीप्लाई कर दिया जस्ट टू मेक द काइनेटिक एनर्जी ऑफ द इलेक्ट्रॉन इन द nth ऑर्बिट. बाकी कुछ भी नहीं किया. अब हम उसको थोड़ा उसमें चेंज करके काइनेटिक एनर्जी को बना देंगे. क्या करेंगे? इसको यहाँ पे शिफ्ट कर देंगे r को. हाफ एम वी स्क्वायर is equals to 2 into 4 1 by 8 ze square by r upon pi epsilon naught r square. इससे ये कैंसिल, it will be half mv square 1 upon 8 ze square upon pi epsilon naught r. As well as if I write down this as it is, you can see there is a relation we can see which we have already found out, which is ze square by r. What is ze square by r is? You can see that we have found out the value of ze square by r. The value of this ze square by r is n square h square epsilon naught upon pi m ze square, which is, this is the kinetic energy, which is half mv square and it is coming out to be 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught का whole square 2 pi square mze square e की पावर 4 अपॉन m स्क्वायर h स्क्वायर। अब तुम देख सकते हो कि इसमें सब चीजें कांस्टेंट है, किसको छोड़ के? द काइनेटिक एनर्जी विल बी some value which is we are naming as of now is k, and the part which is z square by n square. After that, if we move down, we know that the total energy will be the kinetic energy plus potential energy. And we know that the potential energy, the value of the kinetic energy is, we have found out it is equals to half upon 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught z e square by r। यही किया था हमने, r को हमने उस साइड भेज दिया था एंड इधर से r स्क्वायर कैंसिल हो गया था, तो इधर सिर्फ r रिमेनिंग हो रहा था। एंड द वैल्यू ऑफ द पोटेंशियल एनर्जी इज 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught z e square by r, or potential energy is negative as we all know, so it is coming out to be minus 2 times of kinetic energy. You can see that it is coming out to be minus 2 times of kinetic energy. So kinetic energy plus potential energy is equals to total energy as we know, and the potential energy is minus 2 times of kinetic energy. So we can see that the total energy is minus kinetic energy. The total energy will be minus of kinetic energy 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught whole square 2 pi square m z square e की power 4 e raised to the power 4 upon n square h square. This is the value of total energy. अब हमने इसमें क्या क्या कैलकुलेट कर लिया है, लेट अस कंक्लूड। हमने अभी तक क्या क्या निकाल लिया है? सबसे पहले हमने निकाल लिया रेडियस इन द nth ऑर्बिट विच इज 0.529 into n स्क्वायर बाय z आंगस्ट्रॉम। सेकंड हमने निकाल लिया है वेलोसिटी ऑफ द इलेक्ट्रॉन इन द nth ऑर्बिट विच इज 2.18 into 10 raised to the power 6 z by n मीटर पर सेकंड। एज वेल एज हमने निकाल लिया है पोटेंशियल एनर्जी जो कि है माइनस 2 टाइम्स काइनेटिक एनर्जी, और हमने निकाल लिया है टोटल एनर्जी विच इज माइनस काइनेटिक एनर्जी। ठीक है, बट हमने अभी टोटल एनर्जी का वैल्यू नहीं निकाला है। सो लेट अस फाइंड आउट द वैल्यू ऑफ द टोटल एनर्जी। व्हाट इज द एक्चुअल वैल्यू ऑफ द टोटल एनर्जी? ये तो हमने निकाल लिया है। Our motto is to find out the value of the total energy. What is the actual value of the total energy in terms of numbers and formula? So it will be minus 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, तो हमें पता है, और ये था इसका स्क्वायर अपॉन 2 pi स्क्वायर m e raised to the power 4 upon n square into z square by n square। ये तो हमारा कुछ कांस्टेंट हो गया, और इसकी वैल्यू जो आई थी वो वैल्यू आ रही थी, टेबल बना के निकल माइनस 13.6 मल्टीप्लाइड बाय जेड स्क्वायर बाय एन स्क्वायर इलेक्ट्रॉन वोल्ट पर एटम। एज वेल एज अब तुमको जूल पर एटम में बताता हूँ, किलो जूल पर एटम में बताता हूँ। ठीक है, वो वैल्यू तुम्हारी आएगी -13.6 इंटू 1.6 मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 10⁻⁹ इंटू जेड स्क्वायर बाय एन स्क्वायर, और जब तुम इन दोनों को मल्टीप्लाई करोगे तो आएगी -2.18 इंटू 10⁻18 माइनस 18 जेड स्क्वायर बाय एन स्क्वायर जूल पर एटम। और इसी को ही तुम जब किलो जूल पर एटम में करोगे तो आ जाएगी 1312 इंटू जेड स्क्वायर बाय एन स्क्वायर किलो जूल पर एटम। ठीक है, इसको भी तुम्हें याद रखना है। एक वैल्यू तुम्हारी किलो जूल पर एटम में है, एक तुम्हारी जूल पर एटम में है, और एक तुम्हारी इलेक्ट्रॉन वोल्ट पर एटम में है। ठीक है, अब अगर तुम्हें टाइम पीरियड ऑफ द रेवोल्यूशन कैलकुलेट करना है, नाउ इफ वी हैव टू फाइंड आउट द टाइम पीरियड ऑफ द रेवोल्यूशन, एक रेवोल्यूशन को कंप्लीट करने में कितना समय लगेगा, तो टाइम पीरियड तुम्हारा हो जाएगा, ये तुम्हारा पाथ है जिस पे इलेक्ट्रॉन रिवॉल्व करेगा, ये उसका रेडियस है इन द nth ऑर्बिट, और ये उस इलेक्ट्रॉन की वेलोसिटी होगी इन द nth ऑर्बिट। और हमें पता है कि टाइम पीरियड होगा 2πr अपॉन जिस वेलोसिटी से वो घूम रहा है। रेडियस हमको nth ऑर्बिट में निकालना है, वेलोसिटी भी हमको nth ऑर्बिट में निकालनी है। तो रेडियस और वेलोसिटी के अब हम इसमें वैल्यू पुट कर देंगे। 2π अपॉन रेडियस की वेलोसिटी थी 0.529 मल्टीप्लाइड बाय एन स्क्वायर बाय जेड आंगस्ट्रॉम, और वेलोसिटी की भी हम इसमें वैल्यू पुट कर देंगे जो कि हमारी थी 2.18 मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 10⁻⁶ इंटू जेड बाय एन मीटर पर सेकंड। ठीक है, अब इसमें देख सकते हो तुम कि एन स्क्वायर बाय जेड इधर है और जेड बाय एन इधर है। जब ये ऊपर जाएगा तो दैट विल बी फ्लिप्ड, वो हो जाएगा 2π 0.529 इंटू एन स्क्वायर बाय जेड, और ये हो जाएगा एन बाय जेड, और ये 2.18 इंटू 10⁻⁶ will remain as it is angstrom upon। ठीक है, it will be the value which is this will be some constant, तो हम इसको k डैश नेम दे देते हैं for now, will be n square by z into n by z। so we can see that the time period is directly proportional, the time period is directly proportional to the n cube upon z square. This is the relation which we have to remember. From this we can say that it is directly proportional to the n cube and inversely proportional to 1 by z square. And the actual value of the time period is k n cube upon z square. We will also find out the exact value in terms of number, the value of constant. If you cut down the values, you can find out the value of k also, but the value of time period is this. Now, if you have to find out the value of the frequency also, we can calculate the value of frequency also in this case. So write down the frequency will be, we know that it is 1 upon time period, and we calculate the value of time period. So it will be 1 upon k dash multiplied by n cube upon z square. From this we can say the directly an inverse relation between the velocity, which is it will be directly proportional to the z square and inversely proportional to the n cube, as well as this is the frequency of the electron. Now if you want to find out the electrostatic force of attraction in the electrons in between them, we can calculate that also. So the electrostatic force of attraction, we know the value of force of attraction is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, which is the value of k, and q1 q2 is z e square upon r square. So we know the value of radius in the nth orbit. We can just put down the values of radius in the nth orbit, and it is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught z ई स्क्वायर हमारा एज इट इज रहेगा, हम सिर्फ रेडियस की वैल्यू इसके अंदर डालेंगे। तो रेडियस की वैल्यू हमारी थी एन स्क्वायर एच स्क्वायर एप्सिलॉन नॉट अपॉन पाई एम जेड ई स्क्वायर, पाई एम जेड ई स्क्वायर, and it is the square of the radius also, so we have to make the square of this value, which is the value of radius. Or we can say that the value, there is some constant in this values. If you calculate the constant, you can find out the values, the value which can change over, which is z and n. So we have to arrange it in that order also, and that will be 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught upon z e square upon the constant k multiplied by n square by z raised to the whole square. From this we can see that 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught z e square by z square upon k into n square raised to the whole square. So the value which is coming out to be directly proportional is, we can see that the z square and n raised to the power 4, the k e square z cube upon k n cube, we can see. So the frequency, the force of attraction between the electron is directly proportional to the z cube and inversely proportional to the n raised to the power 4.